I just got in the mail the new Light Scatters palette from Clionadh in collaboration with Badtothebrow. Let's eye swatch it. I'm so excited about this palette. A huge congrats to Badtothebrow, Millie. She's been making multi-chrome content for years. And if you're not familiar with her content, you're missing out on a fantastic resource. I feel like her and I have similar tastes in multi-chromes, which is to say we both like mid-toned, colorful, shifty. So I feel like I'm going to like this, and also I love Clionadh shadows to begin with. This collection consisted of the palette, and there was a couple other things. The only other thing that I bought though was a nail polish trio, and I'm wearing the darkest of the 3 shades on my nails right now. This is just 2 coats of the polish with nothing underneath, and I absolutely love this color. This looks stunning. Let's just zoom right in and get into the eye swatches. So these shadows aren't named, but I'm just gonna go like that. I guess I could say across in rows from left to right, top to bottom. So this first shade looks like a really sparkly iridescent. I watched all of the content that Millie made about these, and she described it as like a new formula. She was saying that they were smooth, and I was nervous that they were going to be like too smooth for my liking, but I feel like Clionadh makes really nice smooth shadows that you still feel like the texture picking up, and that's how I feel about this shade. From my finger, it looks like there's going to be some kind of warm flip. I don't have any primer on my eyes. Oh. I often say with iridescents, my favorite use for them is as an inner corner. So there's a lot of shades that I would use for my inner corner that I wouldn't wear all over the lid, but I feel like this one is sparkly enough that I could wear it all over the lid. I'm also seeing a really clear yellow shift to it. The way those sparkles are sparkling, where it's just out of focus, that's so pretty. I am really excited to see this on the inner corner. I love when palettes have an inner corner shade, so I feel like if this looks as pretty as it does on the lid on the inner corner, I'll probably use it for my inner corner like every time I reach into this. But it is an added bonus that it looks this sparkly all over the lid too. Okay, the next one up, this one looks like a yellow, and I'm seeing sparkle to it that reminds me of UV. Ooh. I see what she means about it being a different formula, but I like the formula. Ooh. I know there was one that she described as being similar to myrrh. Is it this one? It could be this one. I love these really small shimmer particles in it, and I think this most reminds me of UV. Maybe it's just like the color and the glowiness of it, but UV, which is a purple iridescent from them, that's an odd shade because it's not that shimmery, it's just like glowy. And in a way, I feel like this is what I want UV to be when I reach into it. I really like this. This is a really interesting shade. I feel like I've seen a lot of purple multi-chromes that have a yellow shift to them, but I don't think I've ever seen this like yellow, almost orange base with this like warm toned tiny sparkle to it. Yeah, I kind of feel like prepare to be sick of me in this shade. I really like it. Here's these shadows in some other angles. The first one we swatched, the more iridescent one, really comes alive in the other lighting. And the second one still looks really interesting and beautiful. Okay, this next shade, I feel like this one is one of the more intense ones in the palette. One of the more like full pigment type of shades. Okay. Oh yeah. Oh, wow. Oh, interesting. Okay, so this is really shifty, and I feel like it reminds me of other shades. Like, I see this and I think of Forge, for example, which is a shade that I have a lot of respect for, but it's so intense and the base is so heavy that I never find myself reaching for it. But this feels like a more approachable version of that. I am seeing some depth to the base when it's out of the light, but it's more of like a mid-toned brown, like a cool-toned brown out of the light, as opposed to that like heavy black base that shades like Forge have. And this also has all like that little sparkle in it. So while I don't think this is going to be like one of my favorites from the palette, I think it is a nice version of what it's doing. Okay, this fourth shade, in the pan, I don't know if it's coming across on camera. Yeah, on the pan, it looks nearly holographic. Is it holographic? I don't think we've seen any holographic shadows from Clionadh. Or maybe it just has like multicolored sparkle. Okay. Yeah, I don't know what's going on yet. Ooh, I like a pink though. So I don't know if they're calling this a holographic, but it's shifty. You could see how it picks up the light. It has this light pink to it. There's also other colors in the shimmer, like green and red. So I do like it, but it's not an intense shade. I feel like I need to come up with a word for shades like this, because this is the type of shade, okay, that's interesting, but I can wear to work. I need to have a name for that. Like, I feel like I won't be wearing this shadow for like a night out or a concert, but I will be wearing it for the more frequently occurring occasions where I don't want my makeup to be seen across the room, but I do want to wear something fun for me, something more fun than like a champagne. So I know I will get use out of this. Next up we have the shade in the middle that looks like bluish, but I'm also seeing some sort of warm shimmer in there. Ooh, and green. Wow. This one feels a little bit harder pressed than the others, but still nothing wild. Oh, pretty. Okay, I'm gonna layer this up a little bit. Yeah, and I feel like it really needed that second layer. Yeah, on the eyes, that shift to green is really obvious, and it has that contrasting orangey shimmer in there. Cool. I think I was saying this in my recent video where I was eye swatching the newer Divina shadows, that I really like a blue to green shift, and I feel like we don't see that often. So this shade feels very special to me. Yeah, I want to wear this. I feel like this is a shade too that I could pair it with neutrals. I could even just go in with the one layer like I had before I layered it up, and it would be more of like a subdued look. Or I feel like I could pair it with blues or greens and bring out the colorfulness of it, bring out the flip of it, and that would also be a really beautiful look. The third shade on the second row looks similar in depth to this one that looked a little holographic. Ooh. Ooh. But that like greeny yellow sparkle to it looks really pretty. This also feels similar to the last one. Oh. Oh, cool. I think I said this before that I'd watched all of Millie's content surrounding this palette. She made like, you know, the reveal video, she did an eye swatch video. I think there's something else, either looks or comparisons, but I still feel like I haven't seen these shades before. Just because my brain, like, I didn't have to think so hard about the individual shades when I was watching the content, because it was either like buy them all or don't buy any of them. So I watched it, determined that they were beautiful, and was like, okay, I'll buy it. So all that to say, I wasn't expecting this shade. It's like a pinky mauvey base with like a yellow shimmer to it, but the yellow definitely goes a little green. And I would say that the thing that all of these shades have in common is the same like really small particle shimmer, but there's a lot of it and it looks really shiny. Like even like look at this shade while we're not even paying attention to it. That looks so beautiful. Yeah, I'm definitely more excited about this one, but both of them really pretty. And you could see it's more of the same in the other lighting. The blue-green one, I love that. That's so pretty. And then the more pinky yellow one, the shimmer in it becomes very intense. Okay, we have made it to the bottom row, and we're going to get into this green here. Looks like there's something warm to it that I'm seeing at a harsh angle. This one feels a little bit softer, and I do like that. Ooh. Okay, that's pretty. Sometimes I think I sound nuts when I'm calling things wearable, but this feels to me like a very wearable green, and I think that's because it has this more neutral base to it, and also the fact that the shimmer particle is so small and it's so easy to control. It's not going to be like an intense, crazy, flaky shade, but it is a beautiful shimmer payoff. And this one does have some like presence on my face. I might wear this to my work holiday party. I'm not always the biggest lover of like a mid-toned green, but I think the shade's really pretty and I'm excited to wear it. You know, I was going to do this one next just because I've been going across the way that the palette dictates, but I think I want to finish with this on my eyes. So I'm just going to skip ahead to this one, which also I think might be a more intense formula. This one feels a little bit thicker when I pick it up. It's still nothing crazy. Okay, pretty and really shifty. This one reminds me of this one up here in that it feels like a more black-based multi-chrome type of shade, but it doesn't have that intense black base. I love that shiftiness to it, and also that tone of pink is so pretty, and the base kind of feels like a mid-tone green, perhaps. In the other lighting, the green of the first one gets so bright, I love that, and the second one, cute, shifty, approachable. We're on to the final shade of the bunch. It's this center one on the bottom row, and I'm pretty sure that Millie compared it to Mural or said it was like a greener version of Mural. It was a something version of Mural. And if I hear it's a something version of Mural, I'm down. If you know one thing about me, it's that this is the one thing you know. It's that I love Mural. So let's see how this one goes. Also feels a little softer. I think it was all three in the bottom row that felt a little bit softer. That's a really pretty color. Ooh, I like it. Ooh. Oh, I really like it. Let me get some on the other eye as well. Cool. Yeah, Mural has more of a teal base, I would say, and this one's definitely like a bright lime green, but it has a similar shift to it with like the yellow sparkles going to like the orangey red sparkles. And I could definitely see myself getting a lot of use out of this. This is so pretty. Ooh. Ooh. Here's the shade in the other lighting. Yeah, I don't have much more to say about this. I'm just excited to see it in a completed look. So I'm just gonna go ahead and do that and I will be right back. And here is the finished look. I really love this. So for my crease, I went in with Profane from Fantasy Cosmetica. I think I mentioned this in another video, but for Black Friday, I ordered just 2 singles from Fantasy Cosmetica. This was my first time trying this one, so it was a bold choice to go in on a fluffy brush on my crease, but it worked really well for that, and I love the color. I also added a little bit of this first green in the crease right above the main shadow. For my inner corner, I used this first shade, and I also used that a bit under my brow, and I do think it works really well as an inner corner, and it's like a particularly beautiful one. Seeing these shadows in a look really makes me feel like the vision and the specialness of this palette. I was really expecting to like it because I like the makeup preferences of the person who collaborated on it, but I really do like it. Like I expected to, and I really do. And I think this look is so pretty. When I was deciding whether or not to pick this up, I had a couple concerns that kind of like left me not feeling 100% on it, and it was mainly that these are a different pan size than the standard Clionadh pan, and Millie had said that this is the same pan size as the Dragon Fruit palette, which I don't have, but it might mean something to other people, and they went with the smaller pans to keep the cost down, which I do totally get that, like, there's different types of consumers out there. I might be a consumer who's willing to spend a lot of money to have like uniformity in my collection, but that's not everyone. Clionadh does release collections of 9 singles, and it often costs like over $150. So like I totally get it. Like I totally get that if this palette was $150, it would have been a big deterrent for most people, and I probably would have only justified it because I wanted to create content about it. So they're right. They're right, I'm wrong. It shouldn't be full-size pans, and if it was, it would probably be of like worse quality shadows. Like I know a lot of brands will do that kind of thing too, where like they'll stick some not multichromes in with multichromes just to keep the cost down, but then you're buying a palette where not every shade is going to be fantastic. So it's all a balancing act, and I think they made the right call. And I also think that seeing it in person, I feel like I get it more because it is such like a nice little compact item. And I feel like the differing pan sizes really only would matter if I were to depot all of them and keep them in with my other Clionadh singles, but I don't think I will because I like this as its own little object. I like it that it's like 9 beautiful pans created and chosen and placed by someone with good taste in multichromes. And I know I can like reach in for this if I want to, I don't know, cut down on the decision fatigue of my collection. If I just want like a nice, beautiful multichrome, it's in here. And then my other reservation going in was that these don't have shade names. And, you know, I like shade names. I feel like shade names kind of add to the vision of a palette. They add to, like, the vibe of a palette. But as I was, like, thinking about it, like, why? Why do I need shade names? It's really only as it pertains to, like, content creation. Like, it's nice to say, I'm putting solar eclipse on my eye, as opposed to being like, I'm putting the second one from the right on my eye on the top row, you know? But at the end of the day, it really doesn't matter. And I feel like my brain will remember each shade just because of where it is and not because of what I'm referring to it as. I believe Millie had also said that without shade names on the palette, you can feel free to move things around. If you have the dragon fruit palette, you can mix and match with that. Perhaps if Clionadh creates future palettes, I can also use this as like a template to mix and match those shades. So I get it. I do think it would be fun of Millie if she was like, these are the names I would have given it if I gave it names. But I don't need to give her extra work. It's fine. It's fine. I get it. I really think this is like a lovely compact palette, and I think it's perfect for someone like me who loves mid-tone shadows that are also like shifty and a bit unusual. I think this is going to be something that I reach in for when I want to reduce decision fatigue and use a shadow that's, yeah, going to be pretty but not give me a lot of fuss, you know? Another huge congrats to Millie. This is gorgeous. You totally deserve it, and I think people are going to love this. And that's going to be everything for today. If you enjoyed this, I hope you will give me a thumbs up and subscribe. It really means a lot to me, and I will see you again very soon. Bye!